This is a morning hunt. I'm set up pretty close to a major doe bed area. All these does in the morning time will be filtering their way up out of the deep bottoms, hardwood bottoms, where they've been feeding on acorns mostly all night long. A couple of green fields back down in that location. I'm sure they were all in there too. And as the morning starts to wake up, these does will start filtering up this hill, and they'll actually bed just over on the opposite side of this hump where I'm at, where they can see a long ways one direction, and then it's really, really thick all around them with the honeysuckle, greenbrier, and these does are spread out in that doe bed area to where they have all the eyes and ears they need to help protect them from anything predator-wise or hunter come in their direction. There's some acorn trees here that are dropping. You'll stop, you'll see the deer feed a few bites here and there, but their main objective right here is really to head to the bed area. Once they get up on top of the hill, as you can see, they just kind of slow down and mill around. They'll pick up acorn here and there, pretty close to where they want to be. They're probably less than 50 yards from where they're actually going to lay down at this point. These little bucks, they have a strong tendency to work a little further down the ridge, stay on it a little bit longer before let the does get settled down. I'm not really sure what they're doing. Maybe let the does check things out on the other side before they commit. But these two little bucks here are not going to really bed with the does. They're going to bed more in the thick edge, and they will probably end up getting downwind of me eventually. But I'm not hunting these little bucks. I've sat in this spot before, and I've actually seen some really good bucks kind of head these does off, check, see if they're maybe coming into heat, and it can get really interesting very fast if that's the case, because these bucks have a tendency to watch this spot. They know the does are going to come through here, and they're going to be kind of following along, maybe not necessarily on the same exact trail as the does. Rarely is that the case, in fact, but they will be close by. They can hear these does when they come up the hill, maybe even smell them sometimes, but as soon as they do, they get close to the top, these bucks will intervene and check them out real quick. These bucks here, obviously, they're not in the game yet. They're not interested in the does. They're going to feed on some acorns. They're going to come actually over here closer to me. Got a couple of red oaks, white oaks. It's dropping acorns. If you watch this one here, this monster buck here is actually rubbing a tree, laying his territory down. This is a rare video occasion here. We actually get to see a monster buck rub a tree. Yes, I'm joking. But I guess he's practicing for when he gets older. There's another buck in the distance, probably, he's probably a good 15-inch buck. I don't know. He's a bigger spike anyway. This little deer here is going to get right under my tree eventually, and the other buck's going to mill around over there. I mean, they're just going to hang around for what seems like forever, feeding on these acorns, getting their belly full before they go lay down and chew their cud. That one little bit bigger buck, he seems a little more interested in scent checking the does thoroughly. He wants to make sure he doesn't miss out on anything. You can see he's kind of looking the direction the does went. He's just real hopeful. The rut's really not kicked in yet, but sometimes I've sat here, especially on a morning hunt, and I've had some really nice bucks cruise through this area. Later in the year it'll pick up, or it should pick up. I hope it does. It has in the past. It's a really hard spot to get to though, because a lot of times the deer are already here before I can get here, and I get blowed at by the does. Just because I get blowed at by the does doesn't mean I'm not still going to hunt this spot, because those bucks, they hear those does blowing, and they eventually are going to work over there anyway, because, well, that confirms to them that those does are in that area. Those bucks hear those does blowing, they'll know exactly where they're at. It might be an hour and a half, 2 hours later when they ease through there, give the area time to settle down, just in case the does are blowing at something legit. But they'll come through, and they'll be scent checking where those does walk through. This little buck, as you can see, is pretty much just browsing on anything and everything. Eat an acorn here, or browsing on the leaves. Gonna try to get his belly full before he goes and lays down. If you're a patient man, we'll sit back and watch these deer for hours, and they don't even know I'm in the world. I don't want to spook these deer, but this one little buck, he's eventually going to get a little sniff of where I went up the tree. Now, I went up the tree on the opposite side of where this trail is, because I did not want to get too close to the trail. But you can tell right here, as he's starting to go under, he catches a scent of something. I think he doesn't really know what it is, but you see how he just got a little nervous and stepped off the trail. He's kind of stomping his feet just a little bit harder as he steps. That's not a strong scent that he picked up, but it was enough of a scent to where he got nervous and stepped off the trail. This other buck hasn't really noticed yet. If he has, he's probably just ignoring this youngster, thinking, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. But you'll hear this buck, he'll stomp his foot a little bit more insistent. And now he's got the other deer's attention. So they're both going to veer off. He's got, wait a minute, I got to get one more bite before I leave. Later in the evening, this is the setup as the does start coming out of the bed area. They're obviously coming out real slow. Going to look over the edge, make sure there's nothing there. They've been pretty much laid up all day, and they want to get back down there, feed, fill up their bellies, go to the green fields, acorns, whatever's available for them down there. Just once they ease out to the edge and they're pretty certain that everything's okay, these deer literally trot across this open area, and the woods start opening up just a little bit to my left, and you'll see them. They'll just bail off that hill and take off to wherever they're going to go. Love sitting and watching deer. You can learn a lot by just observing. Get out there in the woods, give it a try, guys. You'll love it.